for the people. But the people are retarded.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him. What do we do now?
Back to them, or do you want to stay with Donald Trump?
Fuck Joe Biden.
Refuse to go along with this, and I'm seeing through all of your lies, Barack Obama, you wicked, wicked devil!
Welcome back to another night of Stick with Koolfrogg. Yeah, we're a little late. Only an hour and 5 minutes, nothing big. Just so you happen to be that there's a big show going on for Madcore Mofo. If you haven't checked out Madcore Mofo, you should totally check him out. He had some awesome people on tonight. Nate the lawyer, Eric Hunley, DUI guy. Grimm's over there. Divinity's over there. There's just a big crowd. It's all fun and it's great. I was playing mod and throwing out links for us as well as everybody else, and it looked like we actually picked up some subs ourselves. So hopefully things can go pretty good for us tonight. We are going to actually kind of cover some of this statue that was knocked over in Georgia. We're going to start with that because there's it's what it was. It's a statue. It's a Georgia Guidestones. I mean, it's a monument made of granite. So I mean, you can say it's not a statue. You can say it's a statue. You can say whatever you'd like. I guess. Just don't call me late for dinner. That's all I say. So, Georgia Guidestones. I'm going to start off with the Wikipedia page because the Wikipedia page actually has some interesting information on there. This article may be affected by current events. It is affected by current events because if you actually look at it, it actually says that it was destroyed in 2022, which was all today. So this is the Georgia Guidestones granite monument that stood in Elbert County, Georgia from 1980 until it was destroyed in 2022. The monument stood at an approximate elevation of 750 feet above sea level, about 90 miles east of Atlanta, 45 miles from Athens, Georgia, and 9 miles north of the center of the city of Alberton. One slab stood in the center with 4 arranged around it. A capstone lay on top of the 5 slabs, which are astronomically aligned. An additional stone tablet, which was set at the ground a short distance to the west of the structure, provided some of the notes of the history and the purpose of the Guidestones. The structure is sometimes referred to as American Stonehenge.
And the other thing I'd like to add is that this was purposefully done, and of course, I mean, we know this just by where it is located geographically as well as being aligned astrologically. This is very esoteric in nature. This is supposed to, if you look into different things for like mystical religions or like Gnostic thought or like even Satanism or Masonry and so forth, this is supposed to draw energy from the universe or from the spirit world, as it were, quote unquote.
Right.
And that's why it is geographically where it is located as well as astrologically. And if there's other different things throughout the United States, I think people were talking about like Disney World is one of them, and you can see where there's like a bit of a pattern that can be drawn out. I have to look at that again. Don't quote me on that, but
that's interesting.
But anyways,
yeah, fun. So it says the monument does stand 19 feet 3, or did stand 19 feet 3 inches tall. It was made of the 6 giant slabs weighing about 237,746 pounds in all. So the whole structure weighed, that 237. So this is on July 6th, today. The Guidestone was heavily damaged in a bombing. Don't quote me on that because I have no clue if that was exactly what happened. We do have some footage so we can actually look at what was actually caught on camera. It's very strange and very odd to actually think that it was actually took out in a bombing. Kind of, I mean, kind of give you the chills when you think about it, because you're like, oh dang, did somebody actually bomb U.S. territory and hit this thing on purpose? This is later in the day. Officials pulled down the remaining parts of the structure for safety reasons, which is obvious because when that first piece was actually hit by the bomb and it disintegrated, it actually cracked that top piece. Being that it cracked the top piece, anybody that would go near it, it had a potential of actually getting hit by it.
I mean, they want to reduce the population. Why don't they stick like 20 people underneath and let it fall on them? Like, I mean, like, let's just be honest. Like,
let's hold this big, huge
the hell
rally
did
right
these bastards
here.
have to be concerned with?
Now everybody jump up and down really hard.
Yeah,
let's see if you can't get the ground moving a little bit and see what happens. Oh,
right. And it'll help you. It'll help protect you against monkeypox. Oh boy!
Come on, let's go, everybody.
Boing, boing.
So this is in June of 1979. A man using the pseudonym of Robert C. Christensen approached the Alberton Granite Finishing Company on behalf of a small group of loyal Americans and had commissioned the structure. Christian explained that the stones would function as a compass, calendar, and clock and should be capable of withstanding catastrophic events. Oh, really? It should be. Isn't, and it didn't stand. So it says Joe Fenley of Alberton Granite assumed that that Christian was a nut and attempted to discourage him from providing a quote for the commission, which was several times higher than any project the company had previously taken, explaining that the Godstones would require additional tools and consultants. To Fenley's surprise, Christian accepted the quote. When arranging payment, Christian said that he was represented a group which had been planning the Guidestones for 20 years in which he wanted to remain anonymous. Christian delivered a scale model of the Guidestones at a 10-page specification. The 5-acre, 2-hectare site is apparently purchased by Christian on October 1st, 1979 from a farm of Wayne Mulnix. Mulnix is a child where were given lifetime cattle grazing rights to the Guidestone site. What's up, Slade? How's it going, man? On March 22, 1980, the monument was unveiled before the audience, variously described as 100 to 400 people. Christian later transferred ownership of the land and the Guidestones to Elbert County. In 2008, the stones were defaced with polyurethane paint and graffiti with slogans such as "Death of the New World Order." That's not what we're saying. That's what they're saying. The defacement and the first serious act of vandalism in the Guidestones history. I mean, though we do kind of feel that way, right? In September 2014, the employee of the Elbert County Maintenance Department contacted the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which, when the stones were vandalized with graffiti, including the phrase, "I am Isis, goddess of love," which, is an actual goddess. If you can do some research, go back to, I believe, Egyptian history, and actually you can look back and actually see who this person is. In 2015, the documentary From Dark Clouds Over Alberton was released, in which it was claimed that the Guidestones had paid by Herbert Hinsey Kirsten, a doctor from Fort Dodge, Iowa, described as a white supremacist and supporter of David Duke and the Ku Klux Klan. Ooh, really? Kirsten was a friend of Robert Merriman, who published A Common Sense Renewed in 1986, a book which aimed to explain the Guidestones. Kirsten was also an associate of William Shockley, a Nobel laureate in physics who was a white supremacist and eugenicist. The documentary makes claim that they acquired a letter of Wyatt Martin for the Granite City Bank and found Kirsten's address in the return address. On May 1, 2022, Candace Taylor, a candidate running for Georgia Republican gubernatorial primary, released a campaign ad calling the destruction of the Guidestones Taylor later attributed to the partial destruction of the Guidestones to God.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to blame her and conservative people and be like, oh my God, these people, they bombed, they bombed our monument to our New World Order. They bombed the hell out of it. Oh my God, these evil people. It's like, well, first off, how do we know who did it? The video footage, we haven't found it yet. But that's what everybody's saying, is that because she doesn't like it and other people don't like it, and they say that that it's, I mean, this isn't the only thing that exists out there, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, there's like countless documents and papers going very thorough detail, talking about everything that's listed there on those guidestones, or was, I should say, uh that describes all of this stuff. So it's like, I mean, how many times have we heard somebody scream like, "Oh, I love Alex Jones," and like try to assassinate Henry Kissinger? Like,
Yeah, right.
that hasn't happened, right? So it's like, but then here's this, and it's like, as soon as this goes down, everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's the populists, it's the conservators. They're
So
bombing shit
apparently, a
now."
bomb hit it at 4 a.m. this morning, and it says that the nearby residents reported and heard the felt of the explosion. It's like, ooh, if they actually felt that, that's amazing.
Oh, and
So,
I'd also like to add the other film that they don't mention. We back up there is Alex Jones' film Endgame: Blueprint for Global Enslavement. His on the front cover of that is the Georgia Guidestones with a giant skull on it. That's what they have on that.
so
Uh,
then we're gonna quick read the inscription. We're not gonna read this whole whatever. I mean, you kind of get the gist of where it is, how it happened, what happened, and the controversies behind it. And here's why it's so controversial: is because of what is actually inscripted on there. So, a message consisting of a set of 10 guidelines or principles, which are engraved by the Georgia Guidestones in 8 different languages, one language in each face of the 4 large upright stones, moving clockwise around the structure from due north. These languages were English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, traditional Chinese, and Russian. So everybody should be able to read this when they actually walk up to it from any spoken language. Because I would almost think that most Chinese would actually be able to read the traditional Chinese. That's just my thought. I really don't know exactly. I would almost think that everybody should be able to read this at some point in time,
and there's more
or
than
would
that.
have been able to.
They have it like at the top, on that top capstone, on the edges, or was it on the top? They have it in Egyptian hieroglyphics. I mean,
Interesting.
like they went. It's pretty extensive to the
That's
point that
that's
they,
why when we say this is Wikipedia, take it with a grain of salt, because you just
right.
never know exactly what somebody forgot to actually add to it. And
Or
if
left
they actually
out.
put it in Egyptian hieroglyphs, that's actually awesome. That would be fun to see. So, 10 things that it says: maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature.
Again, notice it says perpetual balance with nature. In other words, to perpetually keep humanity under 500 million people. Ladies and gentlemen, at the time that this was erected in 1980, what was there, like 3 billion people, I guess, at the time? Like 4 billion, something like that, probably
Sure. Now we're
ish,
at 7.
going on 8. And so they're like, yeah, let's perpetually keep humanity under 500 million people.
Because we release too much carbon, and it's bad. It's bad. It doesn't help with nature, help nature at all when they release so much carbon.
Yes, because trees don't
Though when you actually do,
inhale
like,
carbon and exhale oxygen. That doesn't happen.
right,
Photosynthesis
when
is a
you
lie.
actually look at, like,
Trees aren't real,
what,
people.
what was it, Mount Etna let off more carbon the last time it exploded than humans had ever added together. Like, so when they talk about carbon,
Volcanoes aren't
it's
real.
really amazing. Yeah, volcanoes
I
out
am
there.
a libtard.
Australia's not
Kill
real.
all the humans. Get rid of people. We're looking forward to the end of humanity, as mainstream articles like to say. You know. But
So
hey,
it
that's a
says,
that's a conspiracy for
number
another day.
2 says guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity.
Well, the claim up at the top talked about, eugenics and like, a white supremacist or whatever. Like, huh, guide reproduction wisely. Well, my dad was a head of Planned Parenthood, and that was very controversial.
Thanks, Bill Gates. I'm glad that you could actually throw something in there
Yes.
and make
Yes.
you
Thank
feel good. But yeah, improving fitness and diversity. So I mean, it basically is just like
literal eugenics.
right. It's literal eugenics. To me, it sounds more of like
But hey,
like
it's
they're like, well,
just a it's
if
just a
everybody can
something for
coincide
the
with each other
universe.
and live together, we might be okay if we can be diverse enough to actually, improve well-being of human beings. I sounds kind of disgusting, but whatever.
I mean, they want us to be like these little lab rats that they can go around and breed us for a diversity and, like, maybe keep a couple of us alive for like a zoo attraction. I mean, like that's what. Like,
So
oh
number
yeah,
3 was unite humanity with a living new language.
no
So then
Tower of
there's
Babel shit going on there.
so then as
That's
opposed to
totally not
actually
a reference
having
to that.
these 8 languages on there, they want to actually make it so that everybody, speaks one language as opposed to
Yep.
speaking several, which kind of can be fun, I guess.
And again, the new living language also, it's one of the things that
Exactly, Slade.
separates.
Slade says that's some cultist BS.
Yeah. And one of the things you also have to think about as well, like if you unite all of humanity underneath of one language, there is no distinction between nations. So therefore, why even have the nation state? I guess one of the creations of the nation state is, well, we have a language, we have a culture. Like language is one of the pillars of a nation state and even a civilization. And if you collapse that, that's like one of the biggest pillars to knock over. And that's what they're doing. And so they'll knock over all the pillars to your civilization, your language, your culture, control your population. And it's like, oh, but this isn't tyrannical. This isn't some tyrant freak repeating everything that Henry Kissinger would love to hear and Bill Gates would like to hear. No, that's called conspiracy. And that's not allowed to be thought of because people can't conspire to do things behind closed doors. I mean, and the point that that's somebody, Jay Dyer is his name. I talk about him decent amount, I guess. He made the point. It's like, why is it that like every single time you bring up somebody, planning something or plotting something, that oh my God, it's a conspiracy, and that means it's not true. It's like, well, so you don't believe in espionage? Like, because that's literally what espionage is. Like, spies will go into a room and be like, okay, we're going to do this, whatever. And then they go and then they do their stuff and then they go back and they report on what, like, that's conspiring to deceive someone. There's conspiracy to commit murder. There's conspiracy to rob a damn bank. But no. If we say that people like this are repeating the exact same goddamn bullshit, New World Order hackery, every which place you look, oh no, you are full of horse shit. You're nutso. But they have literal giant monuments carved out of freaking granite, erected to their vision for the new world and the order that is to come, aka the New World Order.
The New World Order. Ooh, sounds fun. Number 4 says rule, passion, faith, tradition, in all things with tempered reason.
Yeah, you can't be zealous about your
Careful.
faith because you have to temper that down. But we'll all have a language. I mean, we all
Don't
see
be
where
so
this is going.
flamboyant with your words and your thoughts and your faith in all things.
Exactly. Rule passion. Don't get passionate. No. I mean, this is like the movie. Has anybody ever seen the movie Equilibrium with a Christian Bale?
I haven't. No.
It's like a dystopian future after like a nuclear holocaust, and this is exactly what it looks like. And you are like they're forced pills to control the passions or control their passion. They're not allowed to feel emotion. They're not allowed
Slade
to
says,
have
I've seen
faith.
how Clown Schwab speaks, and he's creepy as heck.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Where the hell do you think he gets it? I mean, Kissinger is the one that got him into the business. I mean, and of course Henry Kissinger, in our government there. I mean, he's not the only one. Obviously, this goes back a little further, I guess, with him. But
Right.
Bilderberg, these people. I mean, watch a little bit of Alex Jones. Anyway,
So the number 5 says protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. I guess. I mean, everybody wants fair laws, and they want their courts to be, just. They don't
but see,
want.
they're the ones who will be making that decision. You say, as to
Right,
what is
right,
fair
and that's where I was
as
just
to
going to
what
get.
is
It's
just.
just who's
Right.
actually picking out what's
Because you
fair
can't
and
they've
what's
already established
just.
you can't even have your own language. You can't speak your own language, and you can't have your own passion. You can't have your own faith. You can't have your own traditions. And so if you can't have any of those things as the foundation of law, then what is the foundation of law? If there is no morality, if there is no faith, if there is no tradition, if there is no passion in and of yourself to be like, well, wait, that's right or that's wrong. Well, what determines what is just, what is a fair law and what is a just law? Oh, they will. They'll just determine. But this isn't tyrannical, ladies and gentlemen. This is just erected to be this loving statement to the world about how humanity should do things.
Yeah, So then number 6 is let all nations rule
Feel the love.
internally, resolving external disputes in a world court.
A
I really
world
don't
court?
like world court.
Do,
To me,
do
it's
you think that like if you had a world court, wouldn't you have some sort of like a global I don't know, like at the very least initiative or like governance halfway to be able to determine like, okay, you are in you can like take your case up to the world Supreme Court, whatever the hell. Like if there's a world Supreme Court, isn't there like some sort of like governing type of thing going on there? And then like, of course, it's again like the entire freaking planet. Like, I mean, but no, no, ladies and
that would just
gentlemen,
be having, that'd be stupid. That'd be like government controlling a government. It's not the way it's intended to be, especially here in the states. Here in the states, it's the government's supposed to be run by the people and not, by itself internally, like it is right now. And if with a world court, I think you'd end up with the same type of issue. With
yeah, and of
just
course we see prototypes of this sort of thing, like Interpol and the UN Army, and
World Economic
like
Forum.
international court of justice type of things that come into being. Now some of that is like other nations coming together with other nations, specifically in the Western world, uh, kind of making a declaration of like this person's committed a crime, or this group or this entity or this corporation has committed crimes against humanity, or other different things of this nature. But the whole idea of like a UN controlled court is kind of what this is more referring to. But I mean, again, these things do exist in the world to a certain degree, of like the prototypes for it, I should say, the prototypes of what this
So this
this
next one
monument
really
speaks of.
gets me. It says avoid petty laws and useless officials like Joe Biden. Useless official. Avoiding petty
I mean,
laws. I mean,
they tell you that let nations rule internally, and then they tell you to avoid petty laws. Well, wait, you just told us to rule ourselves internally. Now you're telling us what laws we can pass internally and what officials that we can have, because some officials are useless or not. So it's like this gaslighting in the thing itself. It's like you can rule yourself somewhat. Just do whatever the hell we say. I mean, you have freedom. If you don't follow us, you die. It's just, it's okay. It's like, what? No, that's not freedom at all. It's called gaslighting.
so the number 8 says balance personal rights with social duties.
That comes straight from Karl Marx.
I was just gonna say that sounds a little Marxist. I've never actually read his manifesto, so I really don't know exactly what's
Don't
all
even
in
have
there.
to. Yeah, like you're just saying, like you just boom. That's like, well, that's communist. Like that's
That's communist. Let's see. Number 9: prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite.
this
Prize
is
truth,
esoteric
beauty,
stuff. This
love,
is
seeking
like the
harmony.
Gnosticism type of thing. This New Age occult stuff, or the New Age movements and so forth. This kind of thing, uniting of the world religions, is almost basically what this is. This is referring to. Prize truth,
And
beauty,
then
and
number
love.
10, of course, because like it doesn't go along with everything else that we've been talking about. It says, "Be not a cancer on earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature." So I mean,
Yeah, who
it
is the
needed to
cancer on
repeat
Earth?
itself twice because we're the
Look at the
cancer to the
top.
earth.
Look at the top. Maintain humanity under 500,000 or 500 million,
Yep.
and perpetual balance with nature. Look at the bottom. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. What are they telling you? You are a cancer. You need to be depopulated. Leave room for nature. This is Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030, where it's UN Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030, where they tell you that they want to move you into these giant metropolitan cities and cram everybody there, and then all of the rest of the land will be owned by like the government, major corporations, and so forth. That of course will be partnering together, obviously, because this is how they do things, and then you'll be forcibly inoculated with things, is what they say in the documents. Some people will probably have to be depopulated because it just gets too much. We have to control some of that. Like they again, this whole thing is written out in Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030.
Okay, so
And you
here's
have,
the
Great Reset stuff too, and
explanatory
like
tablet. So then this is this is the piece that was sitting on the top is the way I'm taking it. The explanatory tab, or is that the one that's sitting over?
set alongside
Yeah, it's
this
the one that's
text.
sitting alongside of it. So then it says that one says the Georgia Guidestone Center cluster erected March 22, 1980. Immediately below this is the outline of a square inside which it is written, "Let these be guidestones to an age of reason."
That is a Enlightenment statement that comes directly from the bad side of the Enlightenment, which is the esoteric, which is the Freemasonic side of this as well. That's what that is. It's the age of reason. You don't need to have religion. You don't need to have faith, as it said in the guidance, right? Like you don't need to have any faith. You don't need to have any passion in and of yourself for anything at all. Like this is an age of reason, right? Like in other words, it's only rationale. What we believe to be a good rationale is what shall rule and dictate over everyone, not what's just, not what is lawful, not what is decent, not what is pious, not what is anything else. It is only by quote unquote rationale and reason by which all things shall be ruled, and that is a thing that is it's anti-Christ. It's it's anti-government of the people, that people get to decide, and it's against government that, I mean, even like a monarchical government, to be perfectly honest with you. It's against that. It's we, the elite people, we enlightened people, we quote unquote people who know of what is reasonable and what is not, we shall dictate to you what is to be and what is not to be in this age of reason. And you'll hear this kind of thing talked about with Masonic stuff and with other different things of the occult and so forth, and different and all these globalist circles. Like Klaus Schwab says this stuff. Yuval Noah Harari says this stuff. The age of reason. It'll be ruled by. We're coming into a new age. It's the new age. We're coming into an age of reason. The age of only rationale ruling things. And again, it's just rational because nature needs its room. See, so you need to depopulate. See, it's the age of reason. Be reasonable. Think rationally, people. Don't sit here in your morality and your piousness like people need to live. Like, no. Like, people don't need to live. Religion doesn't exist. God doesn't exist. Only us, the elite class, exist. And it is reasonable that nature rule, quote unquote, even though they're like destroying carbon, which actually helps nature. And then, of course, they're telling you that, you need to depopulate yourselves and we will depopulate you because, hey, again, as I said, it's what is reason. We're living in an age of reason and rationale. And if we decide that, global warming, too many people, oh my God, there's too many viruses running around. Like, if we decide that, then, well, then I guess we just have to get rid of some of you. It's just the way it has to be. It's like China's one child policy. It's like, it's just rationale, folks. You can't have too many kids. It's just the age of reason. You got to kill some, might be able to keep one if you're nice, if you're good to the government. If not, oh well, maybe we'll get rid of them too. It's an age of reason. No morality, no right or wrong. It's just reason, folks. That's what that's about. And you can read all about that. They talk about that. Phrase is used everywhere throughout all of their different writings and things of this nature when you go into depth with it. So anyways, and there it says, there it is. It talks about, there it is in Babylon.
Right. So here it says, around the
cuneiform.
edges of the square are written translations of 4 ancient languages, one per edge. Starting from the top and proceeding clockwise, there are Babylonian, cuneiform, classic Greek, Sanskrit, and ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. So,
And so as they're talking about
3
this age of
things that it
reason-
actually marks out as the astronomic features. So it says, 1 is the channel through the stone indicates celestial pole. 2, horizontal slot indicates annual travel of the sun. And 3, sunbeam through capstone marks noontime throughout the year. So it's lined up, specifically to be, astronomical or whatever, and actually, cover those. I find it interesting because pretty much that's the same thing that like Stonehenge does.
Yeah. This is a direct reference back to ancient mystical religions or ancient mystery religions like Babylon and the Egyptians and all these different things where this is, and this is how they would know the seasons. But it would also be a thing again, right? Like aligning it with a celestial pole. That's esoteric. I mean, they just tell you right up front. This is esoteric in nature. This is, I mean, again, they can have their esoteric mindset. They can hearken back to ancient pagan religions, worshiping pagan gods, the mystery religions, the mysteries of ancient Babylon and the things that they did, esoterically or spiritually and so forth. But you can't have faith. But they can sit there and do all their esoteric bullshit, and they can sit there and reference all the ancient pagan gods and wrap it up into one big thing. And they can sit there, and this is masonry.
This part
and
is
all
interesting here. Look at this.
But you
It
can't
says
do anything.
sponsors a small group of Americans who seek the age of reason. Time capsule placed 6 feet below this spot on and to be opened on. The words appear to be shown under the time capsule heading. No dates are engraved. So it's like whenever somebody decided to, do something like bomb it, maybe we should open the time capsule and see what's up.
Yeah, hell, we bombed the damn thing. The thing's gone. Why not? Like, the hell?
it goes through this physical data again and the guidestone languages, everything that's in there,
Oh wait,
its
scroll back down again.
location.
Back down just a little bit, just a little bit. No, not that way, not that way. Down. Yeah. No, stop. What does it say about a pyramid?
Okay, hold.
Oh,
Overall
bottom paragraph.
total major center stone, capstone is 9 feet. Support
Granite
stones are
quarried from
7
pyramid.
feet. Support stone is 4 feet.
Pyramid quarries.
951 cubic
everything
feet
is
of
just
granite.
screaming like
Granite
ancient
quarried from
mystic
the
religion stuff.
pyramid quarries located 3 miles west of Alberton.
The pyramid quarry. What the hell? Why are they calling it the pyramid quarry? And then they're referencing Egyptian hieroglyphs, and this is a celestial pole, and like all this shit. Like, and again, you look at the pyramids of ancient Egypt; they are aligned with, I believe it's, what is it, the 3 stars in Orion's belt. I mean, almost exactly. I mean, like everything about this again screams this like Masonic, esoteric, harkening back to the ancient mystical religions, the ancient mystery religions, their ancient mystical practices, as though if we can somehow bring back these things of these ancient pagan gods, and these ancient things of this nature, then we can have all these like secret powers and secret spiritual powers and so forth. Like that's what that's about.
Oh, hello, the AI show. Oh, Georgia Guidestones. That clearly is built in behest of someone who has esoteric ancient interests.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's the New
yeah,
World Order
exactly.
people. It's
So then it goes through the languages again, and it's astronomical features. So we can kind of get into it a little deeper. It says the 4 outer stones are oriented to mark the limits of 18.6 year lunar declination cycle. The center column features a hole drilled at an angle from one side to the other, through which you can see the North Star. The same pillar has a slot carved through it, which is aligned with the sun's solstices and equinoxes. Aperture of the capstones allows the ray of the sun to pass through the noon each day, shining a beam to the center stone, indicating the day of the year.
Yeah, see, this is directly from ancient pagan religions, how they would worship their gods. This is a monument built to the New World Order, and then they're literally giving homage to ancient pagan gods and goddesses and things, for their esoteric power, literally aligning it with celestial bodies, like a celestial pole, as they call it. I mean, some may venture on to say that this is like worshiping the devil, right? Like, I mean, these
Yeah.
people, most of these people in the Western world understand Christianity, understand Christ, understand these other different things, and they understand, the how these ancient mystical religions, they'll sit there and tell you that you can't have faith, but then they'll harken back to all this stuff. What do they mean? Well, they know what the hell is. They know that this is. It's basically like
The AI shows us I've been interviewed about secret societies in the past. I read and researched little about guidestones. Very odd and secretive. If you're interested in
Yeah,
sharing what you know, I'll throw a link at you. You can come join us. Let me know if you're interested.
and of course, I hope you are aware, the AI show, that the Georgia Guidestones was bombed earlier today.
Right. 4 a.m.
Actually,
this morning.
last night. Yeah, 4 a.m. this morning, at night.
Oh,
And
it's still today for me because I'm in that ancient or that non-existent mountain time
ancient.
zone.
Yeah.
Ancient, because we're talking the way we are. It made me say that as opposed to saying what I needed to say.
And isn't this
Go
interesting?
figure.
Like, if you read here, right? Like, claiming that the Guidestones are a deep of a deep satanic origin, and that R.C. Christian belongs to a Luciferian secret society related to like his name is literally Christian, and then he does all of this pagan shit.
Right.
It's like It's like everything about this. It's
You
just
missed this one.
spinning
It
in
says
place.
activist named Mark Dice demanded the
Yes.
guideline or the guidestones be smashed into a million pieces, and then the rubble used for a construction project, claiming that the guidestones are a deep satanic origin.
I mean,
So
and when they do
somebody's
this,
actually
they're
demanding. Oh, I heard that. Wondered why this was discussed. Yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah, exactly.
yeah. We'll show
We
videos of
do
this,
have.
but
We'll show some videos here in a few moments of the supposed bombing, and the crane actually turned the rest of it down, and everything else that had occurred earlier today. Let's see. One interpretation of the stones is that they describe the basic concepts required to rebuild a devastated civilization. Author Brad Metzler notes that the stones were built in 1979 at the height of the Cold War, and thus argues that they may have been intended as a message to the possible survivors of a nuclear World War III. Hmm. Um, I'll throw a link right here in YouTube, and you can come and join us if you're interested.
now, and another thing too with this is that like Mark Dice is right in saying that because right in saying that it's like Luciferian in nature because what they're doing with this is they're dedicating this to basically like these ancient mystical things and like Satanism and things of this nature. And they're trying to draw, I think I said this earlier, like supernatural energy into this to somehow they believe if they, I mean, they literally made it align with the stars. So it's not like the stars align. They made this align with the stars. That's where that comes from. And it's this esoteric Luciferian type of thing. And they're like trying to draw energy from the supernatural somehow to bend things to their will. I mean, that's the way they believe this to be. These people are, evil.
So it
that
says the
have built this
guidestones were
stuff.
briefly shown and discussed in documentary films Sherman's March, Endgame's Blueprint for Global
There it
Enslavement,
is, folks. There it is.
and
There it is. Oh, that's
Mysteries
the
of
UN building. Sorry.
Mysteries at the Museum. Hello?
Hi, yes.
Hi, how are you?
I'm
Joe.
fine. How are you?
We're doing well. The show that we run here is Stick with Koolfrogg. I am Koolfrogg. AmericaShirts is a normal
Okay.
co-host of mine, and he's very
Okay.
knowledgeable about a lot of things. And that we have a tendency to run a show about 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Tonight we're running a little
Okay.
late because of other things that had been going on through the night. What is it
I
that you
see.
know about? Yeah, what do you know about this kind of stuff? About
Well, it's funny. Like I just just to sort of set it up, I just came across your live when I was just scanning on my I guess my phone or what have you, and
Sure.
noticed your live, and I was listening to it. I went, "Oh, Georgia got like I haven't heard about that in a little while," and I thought I saw something somewhere before I came here online or something. But you had mentioned got bombed, right? Am I right about that?
That's what it's
Mostly
claiming.
peaceful.
So
It was
right here is
mostly
the
peaceful
July
bombing.
6, 2022. The guidestones were heavily damaged in a bombing. Later in the day, officials pulled down the remaining parts in the structure for safety reasons. When it was what happened is one of them got hit by a bomb, which fractured the top plate, which is the reason why they tore down the rest of it, because after it fractured the top plate, they were concerned for safety reasons that it may actually collapse.
To which I
And that's what,
replied to that thinking, it's like, well, you want to reduce the population to the point where there's only 500 million people. Just have like 20 people or 30 people underneath and just have them dancing up and down there, It's like, it'll protect you from monkeypox. Quick, go. Anyway.
But yeah, you say you know a lot about guide stones and stuff, or you've done some research on guide stones.
Well, see, here's the thing. I've been interviewed about secret societies before. I used to be
Okay.
a freelance journalist and freelance writer. I'm still a writer, but now I've been retired for like 5 years. I'm still a writer, but just a writer and no longer doing the journalistic beat and all that. But I had looked into secret societies like and outfits, secret organizations
Okay.
like Bilderberg um and I know. Oh, and
We've done some episodes on the Bilderberg group. We've done
yeah,
episodes
and they
on the World
recently were
Economic
in
Forum.
Washington D.C. and I was kind of
Yeah.
surprised. Have you heard of this guy Jimmy Dore, for example? Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was
I
surprised.
was watching him.
Yeah,
I was watching him
surprised.
earlier today.
Okay, I was surprised that Jimmy Dore did a segment on Bilderberg in Washington D.C. because they were in D.C. this year apparently, and
Yeah, they
I
were.
was surprised. I gotta be honest. I was surprised. I'm like, wait a minute. I mean, I know he's not mainstream media, but he's fairly well known on YouTube. And I was like, whoa, because I had been, and I said this on Twitter. I said I've been interviewed about Bilderberg, Bohemian Grove, and some other kinds of secret societies because I started reading about them years ago.
Like Skull and Bones and
Skull and Bones is another one I talked about.
We did an episode ourselves on that Bilderberg group stuff or whatever when that occurred.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
because we're like,
that's
cool.
And so that's why I was surprised. I was like, and as somebody who was, like I said, a freelance journalist, I didn't talk about that sort of. Oh, is that the Guidestones?
Yeah, that's the Guidestones. There's going to be. I haven't hit play, but it's going to actually come in and it's going to show this explosion that occurs.
That's the security footage. They have the whole thing, cameras everywhere.
That's what I thought. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I said this looks like a security. This looks like a security cam, one of those live cams you see here on YouTube. Wow.
Yeah, you see that? It's like,
yeah. Wait a minute.
Mostly peaceful bomb going off, folks. Mostly peaceful. Not as fiery as some would think, but mostly peaceful.
But yeah, when you see that, you're like, oh, it just out of nowhere.
That's a high.
Yeah, I'm watching this. I'm watching this, and I'm trying to see where it was placed. Like I'm looking at it, I'm like, where could this be placed here? Because this is.
That's an awfully bright light that it's like whatever this light is here.
And there's no black
something
marks
about this is like I'm looking at that light and I'm going, wait a minute, that's separate from whatever blew up.
Yeah, this is something that I'm thinking. This is like outdoor lighting because it's 4 a.m. It's dark out.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is
just
lit up.
Light to show way.
Yeah, I noticed that this is lit up. I noticed see the lighting here. You can clearly see it. And that blows up, and that blows up. Wow. Can I ask, what's the security setup with the Guidestones? Because obviously they have a camera there, but
I mean, they have cameras set up everywhere around.
Right.
Right. I would assume that it would be encapsulated, like almost every direction. There would be a camera pointed at it. That's why I'm like, I'm wondering if there isn't a camera that's also underneath that light that would be pointing at it, so maybe you could see something travel towards it. Because obviously, it looks like it comes from that side because of the way the explosion actually spreads. All this material down through here.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm looking at the path of the explosion. I'm trying to look at the path of the explosion here. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, it seems like there was a bomb placed. And again, I'm looking at this roughly because I'm looking at this camera angle. It looks like there was a bomb placed in the back of the Guidestones. Either back and to the side. Because notice where the debris field is, where the debris field is. There you go. And notice where it explodes. It explodes in the back.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Right
it's off
on
to
the
one
back.
side, and it only affected that one tablet, and it will show the rest, and it only affected that one tablet there, and there's three
Wow.
of them still standing, but the top
Right.
piece is fractured still because of the blast. I guess, like pushing it up and fracturing it.
Well, you can see the explosion kind of goes up.
Yeah, you
So
can see where that. So it's like that whole. Yeah.
Yeah. I like ever since you put up this video, I've been trying to pay attention to this video. And I'm just looking at the debris field. I'm trying to look at explosion circumference and debris field and everything. And like, it's very clear it's behind. And as you mentioned, it hits one of the guy. I'm like, that tells me this was a precision bomb placement. They wanted it to blow a portion of the guide stone. They wanted to blow the entire thing up. Go ahead. Sorry.
Which language was it? Go back to the Wikipedia. Does it tell you which tablet had which language?
That would be important. I'd be curious at which of the tablets got blown up.
Right. So here, if we go, I'm gonna read this real quick here.
Because I mean, you read over it, but I'm thinking like, did he say that? And I didn't remember, or like, you know.
No. Okay. So it says it doesn't say which one was hit. It just says moving clockwise around the structure from due north. The languages were English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi, Hebrew, Arabic, traditional Chinese, and Russian. So I mean, without knowing exactly which direction is north on there, because it doesn't say which tablet was targeted.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you could find out where those holes are placed
for
the sun, then you'd be able to tell, like, you know.
Here's what's suspicious to me. One of those tablets was clearly hit, but apparently, as you mentioned, the other two are still standing.
They were. So
that says to me, as I mentioned before, this was meant to be. I mean, if this was a bomb setup, and it clearly was, some kind of explosive, this was meant to be precision. They wanted to blow up that particular tablet, unless there's more information coming. Oh, there's a person there, I guess. So there is a person.
Well, this one, he's playing it. They're messing with it or whatever, because it's like boom, and there's something like, oh yeah. So people are excited that this actually happened because of what it was. And yeah,
why are they excited?
Because of what it was and what it actually meant to different people. And what it actually is said to go along with, you know, like the first line said something about to keep your population under, you know,
right,
a half a billion people.
When I looked into it, when I did what little reading I did and what research I had looked into, the whole thing was very suspicious. I mean, it was like really. I'm like, wait a minute. Because I believe it's made of granite. I'm trying to remember my research.
It was granite.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they particularly went out, got granite, and made sure this was chiseled with all of these languages and all of the statements on the guide stones and placed up there. Like some kind of American version of Stonehenge, but different.
I mean, yes, this is so meticulous. We read it off on the Wikipedia where they say that it is astrologically aligned. It is a celestial pole. I mean, that's what. Oh yeah, there you could see.
There you go. You can actually see the excavator behind there or whatever tipping that piece off of there. So then here's one of those lines. Can you figure out which tablet would have been struck by knowing, you know, that was the equinox line or whatever?
Yeah, from this angle, I don't, because I'm trying to match this up with the video you showed me, and I'm trying to figure. I'm like,
that's the centerpiece, and the piece behind that centerpiece with the hole in it.
Right,
that's the
that
one
centerpiece
that got blown
though. This right here, this line. Let's see here. Let's pull up the Wikipedia page here real fast. We'll go back to that screen. We'll actually look at them actually tipping that off of there.
Because this is. Oh boy, like this has really got me.
And I've always said about this,
More
it's like, do you?
suspicious than ever. Like, I wasn't suspicious about the guide stones enough. Now I'm even more suspicious because of this
Right.
incident.
Right.
It's
It's actually
weird.
getting people talking about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry.
So then, no, you're fine. So then, the horizontal slot indicates annual travel of the sun.
Like a sun
So I
disk.
don't.
Maybe.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, because it would
That's
show.
what I'm thinking. I'm trying to remember.
Because it says that the channel through the stone indicates the celestial pole. The horizontal slot indicates the annual travel of the sun, and then the sunbeam through the capstone marks noontime throughout the year.
Right. This is, you know.
And when
This.
you go back to the one where they actually show that, you can totally see that slot. Oh, let's see here if I can't pull this back up.
This is.
There you go. So you can see the slot.
Mm-hmm.
So then, east
So it's. I'm trying to remember.
west to
East forward
east.
slab. Yeah. Each side would be represented. Each of the directions: north, south, east, west.
Right. So,
Then
so
you
if that line's going to go from from west to east, then would you be prone to say that's the southern tablet?
It would be might be
It would
southern.
either
It
be
might
the
be
southern or the.
I'm trying to align it with the video you showed me or showed us.
Or is this actually? It's showing a shadow here, so the sun's behind us.
Oh boy!
So if it's moving that way, would that be the south tablet that would have been hit?
It might be clear. You know, this whole thing. Now that I've seen the footage and what you told me, and now that I've seen the footage, there's nothing accidental about this at all.
Oh yeah.
See, he picks up that top piece, the centerpiece falls, and when he knocks that, when he goes a little further and pushes that top piece, then that side one falls, and it's this whole thing.
Because I'm trying to think, 2022, whether there was a kind of reason for doing this that may have had something to do with time. I don't know.
Which is, when you actually look at, because we just read through the whole Wikipedia, and it
Right.
actually explains. Trying to gather my thought on that. So it actually explains. I got to go back and actually look at it to actually give you my full thought. I'm losing myself.
Did you replay that one more time of that face planting? It's like satisfying to me. I don't know. I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, absolutely. We can leave that run, whatever. While
I gather you're no
We'll go
fan of the
over-
guide stones.
No.
no, none of us really were. So then it was and I shouldn't say none of us, because there's a large group of people that actually did.
I didn't have a view. I have an objective view of the guide stones, but I was highly suspicious of it when I came across it years ago and read about it and what I found, and
it
I
does.
just thought
It says it's the Swahili Hindi language
something,
slab that was.
Something seemed odd to me. I'm like, wait a minute, you're going to go to this much trouble, and the term RC Christian is obviously a pseudonym. That's obviously not someone's name.
Yeah. It actually says that it was a pseudonym.
Oh yeah, it has to.
It says it was the Swahili Hindi language slab. That's the slab that was destroyed. This is destroying the Swahili Hindi language slab and causing significant damage to the capstone.
Were there any Swahili and Hindi? Were there? I know there are a number I'm trying to remember, there's the talk about population. Was there anything significant on that slide in terms of a statement?
It would have had all 10 of these statements on there in each language.
Yeah.
That's what it
Right.
was. So it's the language
Okay, so
English,
then,
Spanish,
it's repeating in
Swahili,
each language.
Hindi.
Correct.
Yeah,
Right.
repeating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you can
Right.
see here it
That's what
says the due north, these languages were English, Spanish, Swahili, Hindi. So it would have been, I guess it would have been the Western Slab, Hebrew, Arabic, traditional Chinese, and Russian.
Mm.
But there's your maintain humanity under a 500 million at a perpetual balance with nature, guide
Right.
reproduction wisely, unite humanity with living new language, rule passion, faith, and tradition, and all things tempered reason, protect people and the
Again,
nations of
different
fair
reason.
laws and just courts, let all the nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court, avoid petty laws and useless officials, balance personal rights and social duties, prize truth, beauty, and love, seeking harmony in the infinite, and be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature.
Now, the most questionable ones, I think the ones that got the most talk were under 1 billion and then about population.
Yeah, guide reproduction.
Guide reproduction. See, those are the two elements that I think were the most talked about.
Which was the number 2, guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity.
Which is an admission of eugenics, like just right there. like that's just right in your face.
With eugenics, see, eugenics is not purely about population as it is about the quality of individual, which is why it's
the second one, right? Like guide reproduction wisely, and then hash improving fitness. And
I mean, the eugenicists, and I've read about that a little too. And to me, those are some of the scariest people. I'm not kidding. Yes. The eugenicists to me are some of the scariest people on this planet in terms of their belief systems and all of that.
100%.
That's just
absolutely.
I don't trust anyone who has anything directly. If you find out, if I were to find out a certain person actually was into eugenics itself, yeah.
I mean, like,
I'd be very concerned. I mean,
Bill Gates very much makes reference to all of this. I have on my Rumble channel, I have a little montage section on my first video I threw up there. I just threw up a bunch of different things of what's been going on and so forth. What's really been going on is what I call the video. And
so now that we know that it was that
like all this
particular tablet,
making reference, you could say.
I wonder if that tablet had any Russian on it, because if it did, I could now understand.
But there's only 2 per tablet, right? Because I mean, it's just both sides.
Right, and that's what it said. It was the Swahili Hindi one.
Oh, okay. Mm.
So it's like it only had 2 sides, to each tablet.
Right.
So to think of like
and then the other, it's 2-sided. Yeah, it's 2-sided.
Right.
This is eerie. I gotta be honest. This is eerie.
And there's no footage of anybody. The whole place is surveilled, and they haven't released.
See, that's the thing I was wondering.
Coming up and placing the bomb.
Right.
Did somebody shoot it off from their car? Like what is this? And then there's no fire. No. Look, there's no burn marks anywhere. That's the other thing. It's like there's no burns.
You see this here? It says, whoever destroyed the Georgia Guidestones last night, thank you for your service.
And you can see there at that image, see like that one right there. And there's no burn
notice
marks.
how, that's why I say it's like Stonehenge. That's why I hark back to Stonehenge. Just look at that space. Look at that area. Yeah. I mean, and the only difference is that Stonehenge is obviously, it might have looked like that. Like maybe not, but I'm looking at this and I'm going, Yeah, you're right. I don't see from here. It's hard because it's the helicopter view. I don't see burn marks.
So
I
now
don't.
that this is turned
That's
down
why
the
I
way
said
it
this was a
is,
precision
will
bombing.
they
Whoever
dig
did
six
this,
feet
it was.
down and pull up that
Go,
capsule?
go ahead, sorry.
No,
It
you're
was
fine.
this. That's why I say this had to be precision bombing. This had to be precision bombing because there. If I'm not seeing any, if this was after the bombing and after the event, yeah, I'm not looking at it. I don't know. I'm only going by if this was, because even when I saw it even when I saw it explode, I said
So the
the
camera that
bomb
we
is.
must have been viewing is probably this thing on top of this pole.
Yeah, they got
And
like
this is the
multiple
Yeah,
street.
that's what
places.
This
I'm
is the
thinking.
street light that
Right,
was behind it.
right. That's what I'm looking at. But I don't
Uh-huh.
know where the other cameras are because I'm not looking at anything over there.
There's another pole there.
I mean, there's two poles, but
Wow.
I would assume that, or maybe this is the light pole that had the bright boom light on there, or whatever, or one of the two, because it looked like we've seen it from this side, or, from that side, or
Yeah,
whatever.
you can see
Well,
there's
Which
yeah.
would be the
there's
See,
the
there's
cameras on that
cameras
one.
right there.
Look,
See the
there's a
white?
camera on
Yeah,
that one.
there's two
right.
cameras
There
on
has
that
to
pole,
be one.
and you can see on
Oh,
the
you
other one
mean,
across from
there's
there. There's two
something
other
small
cameras.
there. Yeah, I see something small there.
You can see the white camera. You can see the camera on
Yep,
that one.
and there's like two cameras per one, I think. So I mean, like every angle of this is surveilled. Who placed the bomb? When did they place the bomb?
See, that's
And
what I'm looking at. I'm looking at see with this helicopter shot. I'm even more suspicious. I'm looking at this. I'm going. There's no other significant structure that I see nearby, other than a tree. It looks like the tree. Yeah, a
There's some
couple
trees
trees.
down over across the street.
Yeah, but there's nothing. It's remember see that area. It's like totally flat.
yeah,
It's completely clear. So with cameras, if you have cameras set up, some of those cameras, if you have more than one camera that's there, and I don't know the security layout for this place, but one of those cameras should have caught something or someone placing explosives there because that had to be placed. And even, okay, you got a road there nearby, right? You got a road, I guess you can, what is that? Park your car right there in that space, that wide space there.
yeah.
Yeah,
And there's
I'm
no
looking at,
security footage of a car leaving on that road.
right.
But it's like, well, are you going to show us who placed the bomb? And I don't think. Let me pull this back.
It had to be caught by a camera. It had to be caught,
I mean,
unless
that's
there
what
is a
I'm
more
saying.
than
Like,
one
there's
camera.
nothing
Yeah,
there. Right.
there's nothing
Right.
there. It's completely flat. It's completely flat. And I'm looking at this. I'm going, this is
Now
this
it's
is
not
weird.
completely flat. Technically, that is a bit of a hill that's there. It's not like a huge hill,
Well,
obviously, but
what I
it is
mean
a
is
big
there's
slope. Yeah,
no
yeah,
there's
I get
no
it.
other
Right.
structure. There's nothing blocking it. You got trees across the street. I'm looking at the road. I'm looking at the spaces, obviously for parking, and I'm going. At best, someone could have pulled up, walked over, or ran over,
Here, let me shoot.
placed it. Okay.
I'm gonna throw this up here.
See, people, they take everything and they make it a meme somehow, some way, and they put Trump on front of there, saying
Got a
peace,
lot,
dude.
a lot of anti-Guidestone people apparently. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm looking at this and I'm going, see that space there was probably where you park. And I'm going,
Yeah.
you would have to have a car waiting
Yeah,
nearby.
here's the car.
Okay. So this
And
may
see
have
how
been
it's
the
across from the road?
yeah, he's across the street.
And see,
Okay,
there's still a camera right there in the
that's what I'm
trees, in the
saying.
tree line.
Something there has to be cameras all around there.
They are. They're everywhere.
Yeah, there's no way. It has to be like what is that place? Bohemian Grove.
Oh yeah.
So it would have to have security cameras all over that place. And I'm looking at this car. Okay, so it's across the street. Does this car park, or is it just stay across the street?
Well, see, I don't know if it's parked there. I mean, it has to be parked someplace. I mean, obviously, because it's moving.
It would make sense not to park there, because I'm thinking if the car parks across the street, they get out, they head over. Yeah, I'm like, something is up. The
See,
only
it's so
way you
blurry.
don't know.
Like,
Go ahead. Sorry.
it's so blurry you can't see even a license plate per se. And I don't even know if there is one really in the
Now,
front.
if they planned this, they had to know there might have been a blind spot.
And then what kind of a car is that?
It's gray. I'm trying to look, man. Jeez.
It's very, very difficult.
It's, looks like it's an older modeled car to me.
Yeah.
Like a 90s Chevy of sorts. You know, like those older cars, in the 90s didn't.
Looks like might be like an emblem here in the front.
Well, as there
car.
should be, but yeah.
Well, right. I mean, but like it looks silver almost. Like it looks like it's reflective. I mean, it is a moving image, so things can be distorted. But it's what it almost looks like for a second there. But anyways, I don't know. But
right. I don't
Yeah.
either. I don't know anything. I'm just the host of the show. But yeah, very interesting and disturbing all at the same time.
and again, it's like cameras are everywhere. Someone would have had to have seen this. They
That's my
know who put it
point.
there.
That's my point. This is I mean, if that was the car, because I was just trying to configure this in my mind. I'm trying to think about that plus the area, and I'm going, if you do it across the street, even with that, you park the car, you still would be caught by some camera, unless they were wearing. And man, I'm really getting into speculation here, but maybe they were wearing some kind of camouflage or something that, I mean, at this point, I don't want to speculate too much, but I'm going, it's hard for me to believe that some camera, and I assume there were cameras everywhere, as you've noted.
I mean, you can almost put a timer as long as you want, so it's like this person could have shown up a long time beforehand, placed something, and just knew nobody's going to be here at 4 o'clock in the morning. Nobody's going to get hurt. I'm going to go and I'm going to.
Well, I have a feeling this was timed. I had a feeling this was timed. Like they set
absolutely.
this to go off
it's at 4 a.m. in the morning. So it's
Right.
like there wasn't 4:01, it wasn't 3:59. It says 4 a.m. It's specific time.
And then even
Yep.
if they placed it earlier in the day, if they were visiting or something and then they left, you would have seen a bag or you would have seen a box or you would have seen something there just sitting
Right.
there for the rest of the time that they were there. And like, why didn't anybody remove it or go like, hey, what's this or anything like that? And it just
That's
sits
another
there
thing
the
I
whole
was
time until
wondering.
night and then he sets it off. Like what?
Right.
Cameras everywhere? Like, I mean, everybody's going to know.
If
I mean,
that's the
and
car that you just showed, go ahead. Sorry.
And that same clip, I'm pretty sure they interviewed the guy that's supposed to be like the caretaker of the area, and he never said anything in the interview about anything like like a box was there or this was there. Like he never mentioned anything. So it's like what?
Something. That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at this entire area. There's no way that someone, if you have enough cameras there, and it's clear there were cameras there, somebody's going to get caught on camera. Someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Somebody got caught on camera somewhere doing something.
And they're not going to.
So
if they caught
look at
someone
that
on
third
camera,
poll.
they're not.
Look at
They're
the
not
white dots
releasing
on
it right
there.
now.
There's 2 cameras pointing straight off of this parking lot right into this. Like, there's no way that you could like hide behind anything to get through there. There's no way.
This whole, now this is really kind of, oh boy, I'm like, I'm probably gonna, revisit my research when it comes to the Georgia Guidestones at this point, because it's been a while. But this is really, really suspicious. Really
I mean, could it be
suspicious.
the people that built it are saying that we don't need to say anything to anyone anymore, and we're just going to blow up the one side of it, and that one side of it representing that part of the world, and then you see something happen later on? Like, is this sort of representative of that? Because as we're saying, it's like, I mean, they know who did it, or they know, at the very least, they know someone was there doing it. They
Yeah,
know
they had to have caught someone on
the
camera.
license. If there was the license plate, they've
At
got
noon,
it.
an investigation
I mean,
at the
they know.
mysterious.
And so it's like the only one of the only explanations that I'm thinking of right now as we're talking. It's like, well, I mean, it's one of their people, and then he
So
blew up their own thing. But
I'm
why?
like, there
Well,
has to be footage that shows the pole across the road that has the camera. There's the pole that has the camera across the street. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras within a short distance of this. There's no way somebody
if
just
there's a
walked up to it
camera
and dropped it.
behind this, if there's a camera behind in north of the Guidestone, that would, yeah, it would catch whoever placed it there.
And again, you could see, again, on the poles, there's like multiple cameras on each pole. You would be able to see every way of traffic going to and fro, coming in and parking.
It looks
And there's
like
no
a
way.
one. Yeah, it's a
Because
one road coming in and out.
right, and the car that was there was pulling along that green along the edge there.
Yeah, that's
And
what I was thinking.
And he's like underneath that tree, that big tree there.
Yeah, he's like
And
right
he
over
thinks
here.
like, oh, the camera's not going to catch me because it's there. And it's like, well, you just pull out in front of it, and the other cameras are looking the other way too. So it's like, what the hell?
Right, that's true. But this had to be planned. Even with that, it had to be planned. I don't think this was spontaneous and left to chance. This had to be planned. This had to be planned. Keeping that in mind, they said, okay, we'll keep, we'll be on camera. Okay, we'll be on camera. Because notice you don't see a license plate, at least from that element. If that's the car, I don't know if it's the car or not.
Well, right, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's why I want to be very careful about that. That's why I said I'm speculating. I'm basing it on what I see here, and I'm going at this, and I'm looking at this, and I'm going, there's no way this is accidental, spontaneous. This is planned.
They said that the car that I played the video, I forgot to turn on the audio there while I was playing it. They said that I forgot to mention that car was that video that was released was within moments after the explosion. I think is what they said, moments or like a minute, or it's like directly after the explosion. The car.
Okay. It's
okay. It just says shortly after the blast, the car leaves.
Shortly after.
And then they say, "Oh, it's just released a couple of hours ago." The footage, whatever.
Yeah, this is again another mysterious event at a very mysterious structure.
The article doesn't really say anything in particular that needs to be actually spoke of.
Right now, our
really
all of the
doesn't.
mainstream is blaming
Here's a
all
live
of the
exclusive
conservative world for this, because all of the more populist and conservative world, doesn't like this. And as a matter of fact, a gubernatorial primary candidate for the Republican Party said that she was going to tear down the Guidestones when she became governor.
It actually points it out in the Wikipedia page as being on May 1st, 2022, Candace Taylor, a candidate running for Georgia Republican gubernatorial primary, released a campaign ad calling for the destruction of the Guidestones. Taylor later attributed the partial destruction of the Guidestones to God.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. But
I mean,
I would say probably not a good move. I'm not a right winger, but it probably wasn't a good move on the part of the Republicans to go out and say, "Hey, we want to tear this down. We want to destroy this. We want to get this out of the way."
Well, yeah, because now all of these people and the local news that I've been pulling up, they're all like, "Oh my God!" Like all these people, like they're the ones like, "Oh gee." And I'll pull this video up. This is the caretaker of the place
Mm-hmm.
that they're interviewing here, and I'll play the whole.
I don't really
Let's see where
consider
this
myself
starts.
right wing either. I'm more of like a centrist, I guess you'd call me. I've been called
Oh,
so
centrist.
many
Okay,
times,
right.
and
I see.
I for the simple fact that I voted for Obama twice and then I turned around and voted for
Mhm.
Trump twice. You know, so I mean, there's
Oh, you can call me whatever the hell you
from
want to.
from one side to the other. They just call
Right.
me a centrist.
Destroying a large portion of the 19-foot tall monument.
I know that one of the wings is completely destroyed and is laying on the ground. The other ones probably have been compromised as well, and I know the capstone has been compromised.
Chris Cubis is with the Elberton Granite Association. The group works with the county to preserve the guidestones, which were unveiled in 1980.
We had visitors come to see that monument from around the world. And you know, now it's been damaged.
Known as the Stonehenge of America, the guidestones consist of 4 massive granite slabs, each weighing more than 40,000 pounds. Engraved on them, a 10-part message in 12 different languages, offering a guide on how to preserve mankind.
They told
I freaking love, like, these stupid people. They're like, oh, this is a guide to preserving mankind and humanity. And these horrible, evil Republicans and conservators.
that's what they wanted to do.
In May, GOP gubernatorial candidate Candace Taylor
Right here.
vowed to demolish the structure if elected, claiming the guidestones are satanic.
Those kinds of
And it's like, oh, but they're so beautiful. They're so wonderful. They just talk about world courts and, you know, eugenics and, like, you know, reducing the world's population to only 500 million.
I mean, I got
just-
nothing against the guidestones. Personally, I'll say this: I have nothing against the guidestones. Perfectly, I'm not anti-granite or anti-structure or anything.
Granite.
You never know. You gotta say this stuff now. It's YouTube. You gotta say
right,
this stuff.
right.
You
It's
know, be
YouTube, so
like,
you kinda
you're
watch
against
yourself.
granite. You're anti-granite. You're anti-guidestone. You're anti-stone or something or whatever. But anyone who's done even the minor research I have into this, you've gotta be going, something is up. I've been skeptical about this for years. Skeptical. Okay, I'm not this Republican candidate who wanted it, you know, and her views. I don't agree with her views, but I'm saying I've been skeptical about these guidestones for years. I've been going, look, something is up here. It is. I mean, a guy with a pseudonym gets the, you know, pays all this money to have this granite chiseled in these different languages with these messages. Come on, something's up.
I mean, again,
That's
it's not
all I
like
have
some
to say.
drunk guy just walked into the place and was like, "Hey, you know, here's my
Right.
money. I want you to build this thing, and I want the hieroglyphics on this place, and I want this." It's like nobody does this. Like, what the
Right.
hell?
You know, he wasn't, you know,
What?
he wasn't drinking all of his Johnny Walker Red Label or whatever it was, or, you know, downing a bottle of wine and going, you know what, I think I'm gonna build some guidestones like Stonehenge somewhere in Georgia, of all places. Georgia of all places. Right? I mean, come on.
That's
It's
what
you know,
everybody says.
it's
They're like, "Oh, it's some guy. He had this pseudonym named Christian." You know, like it's just a thing. It's just a whatever. You know, like he was just like some fling he did. Like it's just, you know, like nobody knows. He's just a weirdo. He's just a whatever. It's like, what the hell?
right. It was like
Are
a
you that
prank.
damn stupid?
It's a college prank. He went to UGA or something, the University of
Right.
Georgia. And he just had a prank. Oh, we're gonna build these guidestones. Okay. Right.
Right. It's like
Fraternity
no.
prank. No, I don't think so.
Right.
If it was a fraternity prank, they spent some serious money here. That's all I have to say. The whole thing was weird. The whole thing is strange. I've been skeptical for years about these guidestones. However, I'm even more skeptical that one of them got blown up now. Because this is like, wait a minute, that's way too precise to be accidental. This whole thing is planned. Has to be. Has to be. I'm looking at that explosion and I'm going, okay, it's behind the guide stones and it impacts. I'm trying to look at, I looked at it the best I could and I said, yeah, this is precisely done. They didn't want to blow the whole thing up. If they did, it'd be blown up. But they wanted at least that one slab gone, right? Why? I'd like to know at this point.
Yeah.
I'd like to know.
And again,
We'll
it's like
see if the
cameras are everywhere. They have to know something. And it's
right.
like
There's
my thinking is, it's like, is this a sign from the people that built this? Is this some sort of a message?
well, see, that's
tried
what
to
I'm
be.
wondering. See, it was secretive when this was built. Was this something that was planned secretly? I hate saying this. But this was something that may have been planned, and then at the right time they said, okay, go out there, put this explosive there, blow it up. I don't know. All I'm saying is it's way too precise. If they wanted to blow this up, why not blow up the entire guidestone? Why not destroy all the slabs? Destroy it completely. They didn't do that. That's, jeez. I'm definitely going to have to go back to doing some research, looking some stuff up with these guide stones. Because this is really disturbing to me.
Yeah, and listen to what he has to say about
okay.
comments.
They told us what they
GOP gubernatorial candidate Candace Taylor.
They told us what they wanted to do.
In May, GOP gubernatorial candidate Candace Taylor vowed to demolish the structure if elected, claiming the guide stones are satanic.
Those kinds of statements, they're incendiary, and they can cause people to do things. So, I hate to think that that's what would have done it.
It's the lifeblood of Elberton.
For Elberton's Mayor Daniel Graves, the guide stones represent the quality
I suppose
and
it really
skill
is
that men and women who make up the town's thriving stone industry possess.
For 122 years, we've been making memorials for the entire nation. 2/3 of the memorials in the United States come from Elberton.
He said his community may be heartbroken now, but they will recover.
The only thing stronger than the granite we stand on top of is the hearts of our community.
And again, the monument, all pillars on the ground tonight, no one injured. We do understand that the guide stones have been vandalized in the past, but not to this extent. There are cameras in the area. You can bet the GBI will be looking through that footage. They also want to hear from anyone who may have seen anything early this morning or knows anything about the people responsible.
And you can see where it's like a slow elevation going up, and it's like sort of at this area on the hill there.
Yeah.
But but like the whole talking point now is, it's it's the conservative world. They did this. They're like vandalists or whatever. And of course, it's the talking point. I've only seen this from local press there.
Right.
I haven't seen
well,
this
because
from
it's a
national
local
press.
matter. It's a
right.
Well, here's what's interesting. I'm wondering if this is going to make any national news.
I haven't seen it yet.
I'll be curious about that. No, but I will be on the lookout for this if it makes national news. It'll be interesting if it does. It'll be very interesting if it does, right? Because you have that candidate saying, "Oh, I would get rid of this. It's evil," or whatever it is that she said. And so, it'll be curious. I know this will make the rounds on YouTube on how will I call it? The conspiratorial infrastructure of YouTube, or the conspiratorial rounds of YouTube. And yeah, when it comes to the guide stones, this is what stood out for me when I read about it and I looked into it a little. It was very clear that this was built by somebody with esoteric knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely true. It had to be. Because I'm aware of things such as the mystery schools and all of that, and I'm thinking about this, and I'm going, this couldn't have built by somebody from the Kiwanis Club or the Elks Club,
right,
or something like that. There's just no way. no one like that would have been that interested in building a kind of as they mentioned, as I said, and as they mentioned, American Stonehenge.
Right.
It's
I called you AI show. Is it the L show? Is that what it's supposed
it's
to be?
our show, yeah. It's our show.
Okay.
Well, that's yeah.
Just because you're in here, I'm gonna add you to the description. Your channel that you have. It looks like you have
Okay.
like 180 some odd subscribers out there. Everybody
Yeah,
should
I got a
actually go
new
check you out.
channel for my. Go ahead, sorry.
Everybody should go check you out. You know, whatever.
Yeah,
Anybody that
you
decides to check
know,
this shit
yeah.
out.
I
I do have a
normally
lot more
there.
people that watch me afterward than I do like during
Well,
the episode. So
yeah, and I that channel. Well, I have my official channel, which is under my name. But that's the channel. Technically, my old channel, even though I'm new to YouTube, because I never did anything on YouTube.
when I look it up, I come up with multi smartass one.
That was my old name.
That's the old one.
That was my old name. Yeah, long before I went on YouTube, because they gave you the channel. You know, when you did like Google Plus or whatever it was, they gave you YouTube channel. It just I never did anything with it. I guess not unlike a lot of people.
Okay.
So that when I would write in, what was that? Let me see. When I would write comments, under videos and stuff, I would go under multi smartass one, and I had to change it at some point. So that's why I changed it to.
So the channel still says that it's youtube.com/users/multi smartass one.
Yeah, I think that's
He has it written down as the L show, and it's gonna show that. It's like there is a way if you're over 100 subs to actually change what the channel's name is. Like I finally just named mine the other day.
Right.
Koolfrogg, as what it shows or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I get that now. Yeah, so that channel is basically I do film analysis. I mean, I do film, TV, news, and I do one-offs on different subjects and stuff like that. So,
sure.
And then I have my official channel because I decided I had to be official, which is under my name. So, and soon, hopefully, I'll go live on that. I gotta wait till the subscribers because you gotta like 50 subscribers to go live. So, so I'm waiting to do that so I can start talking about being a writer and being a freelance writer and all this stuff.
So you're saying that you have a channel that just comes up straight up the Al show? Because I mean, when I look up the Al show,
that's the name of my like. That was the old name that I went under. When multi smartass, that was the old name that I went under, right? To do like comments. So what my channel's name is. This channel is the Al show. Yeah. So that's the Al show.
Okay.
And if people want to look me up, they can just look up the Al show. They can go there or they can look up the Al show.
Yeah, it wasn't that hard to actually find you or whatever. It just showed it above. So then the writer Albert Lanier. That's the one that you're trying to.
That's my official channel. My new and official channel.
46 subs, 15. Well, now it says 47 subs because I just subbed to you.
Okay. Yeah. So when that goes into production, it's going to be about. That's my professional channel because I said I got to be professional. Even though I'm a retired journalist, I'm still a writer. So I felt like, okay, I gotta do this. After years of not wanting to be on YouTube, I said, okay, I just broke down and decided, okay, I'll do it. So yeah, when that goes into operation, I've got formats all ready to go, and I'll be doing that.
Sure.
Talk about being a freelancer and all that. Hopefully, good stuff. But this, I have to say, it's been I can't recall the last time I thought about the Georgia Guidestones. And so when I saw this, I went, wow, this is interesting. Oh, this is intriguing.
Yeah, and that's exactly what brought us up to what it was, because it was like, oh, that's kind of intriguing.
Right.
I never really paid attention. I never knew that these things even existed.
Right.
None.
I get it. I gather this isn't the normal kind of subject you guys talk about here on this channel.
Oh, we talk about randomness. We really don't have specifics. It's pretty much comes down to a news channel.
I see. Oh yeah, so you can talk about anything basically.
Right, news and politics. So we'll throw all kinds of randomness in, and because this hit the news today, is the reason that it became.
So you want to be up? Yeah, I understand completely. I understand completely.
Right.
So this was, I gotta say, I was completely. I'm even more intrigued by this after seeing the video you showed and the area. Oh boy, I don't know what to say other than I'm really skeptical and suspicious. I really am. Well, thank you too for having me. I hope I didn't take up more time than you.
We love having guests.
You have added to the show. It's nice.
Yeah,
oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I just sort of went with the flow, and I was looking at the videos and doing the best I could with what I saw. But thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Sure, no problem.
If you look, we actually there's links down below for me and AmericaShirts. He has a channel that he runs off of Rumble. I have a locals and I have a Rumble link because I've been struck several times for random different situations, like whatever, a couple times giving me medical disinformation, a couple times for political disinformation or election disinformation.
Oh yeah.
If something ever happens to this channel, that's where you find us.
Right. I've seen a couple of, I've noticed that with some of the YouTube channels, that people will say, I have the link, get the link to this in case something happens to this YouTube, you can go here. So I've seen
doing the whole salty cracker thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for joining us. That was wonderful.
Oh, thank you so much. Take it easy, folks.
You as well.
You as well. Thank you. Take care. Well, that was fun.
Yeah, being what it was, I really don't want to change the episode. I'm going to change the thumbnail so that the thumbnail projects what we actually talked about tonight. That way it kind of picks up more of an algorithm, just because, especially being that we had a special guest with us. I don't want to bury anything else.
This is a big issue that I think a lot of people are looking around at, because not a lot of people in national news are talking about it, and so they're going to the internet to look for this sort of thing. Like I was saying, I haven't really seen any national stories talk about this, but it's all local news right now. And so, people have been hearing about it nationally, though, but it hasn't been covered by mainstream press. And so people will be going to the internet to look. So yeah, absolutely. We'll just keep it like it is, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not going to add to tonight's show. Thank you so much for Al for being here. That was great. It seriously totally changed what I was actually thinking about completely. Because it was going to turn into a random news channel or news show like we normally do, and we'd start going off of other things. If he wouldn't have been here, we would have totally changed it all. Everybody, make sure you check out. I did throw the link down below. Check out the Al Show. Subscribe to him. Help him out. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, totally. He sounds like a really cool dude.
He's awesome. That's great. And helping anybody, achieve anything is always optimal.
He's very well spoken and seems very educated. So yeah, absolutely.
I became subscriber number 47 to him. I threw the link in the description. I'm going to throw one here as well. Go and subscribe to this guy. Check him out. Looks like he's got some stuff that's up there. It looks like he's got 4, 8, 12, 13 different episodes. He's got quite a few views on some of them. Fun. Again, thank you, Al. We're going to call it a night. Everybody have a wonderful night. Don't forget to subscribe to AmericaShirts. It's how you see it on the screen and his Rumble channel.
It is.
Subscribe to me. Do whatever you can to, show love and support everybody.
Oh wait, here, Koolfrogg, we have to do this. We
Okay.
have to. We have to do this.
No, you're fine.
I
Do what you
mean,
want.
this is just like this is required at this point with what just happened today. This is a requirement to be said.
We'll end it with this later, everybody.
Fuck you. Fuck you. I got plenty of words for you, but at the end of the day, fuck you and your New World Order, and fuck the horse you rode in on, and all your shit. You people are criminals. And just because you get the whole media to gaslight us and tell us that classical tyranny is a good thing, it's not. Everything you're doing is 101 evil, classically bad, classically evil, out of every dystopic novel, out of every dystopic country. And I just can't believe so many fellow Americans and all these academics that got 3-4 degrees are signed on to tyranny because you know you have a worthless degree and you've been promised some place in this new authoritarian takeover.